The reason, the rhyme. 5 things that mean something to me and the reason why. This time it's songs from my dad's car. 10cc, The Things We Do for Love, from the album Deceptive Bends. This is one of those songs that I remember hearing. I think for the first time it was on 8-track. This predates the cassettes in the car in the Netherlands. This is from Middlesbrough on an 8-track. We used to have an 8-track player in the car. We also had one in the house. I remember taking the 8-track out of the car to bring into the house and listen to it. And I loved the fact that it was sad. The word love was in it, but it was sad. It was weird. At that time I was, bloody hell, it was only, I think when I first heard it, I was probably about 6, 7 years of age. And hearing loads of happy love songs, then all of a sudden hearing one which is sad. And I was absolutely fascinated with that. It's a very typically 10cc kind of song, quite in-depth, unexpected chord changes and a lovely use of the minor chord. Absolutely loved it. But one of the reasons why it's important to me, it's a reminder of that time in Middlesbrough, of a time and place. As soon as I hear it, I remember sitting at the edge of the sofa where the 8-track was, with a big pair of cushioned headphones on, far too big for me, but listening to that, I'm there straight away. Cricket Lane, in case anyone wants to go back and have a look at the blue plaque on the wall, which won't be there. But it's just such a time and place kind of song. I remember straight away. I can feel exactly what I was feeling. It's a lovely song as well. I hadn't heard it in a long time until I stumbled upon it on, I think it might have been on a playlist, a Spotify playlist. And straight away, as soon as the first little bit kicked in, it was like, oh man, I love this tune. So yep, 10cc, The Things We Do for Love. The Beatles, For No One, from the album Revolver. I will absolutely love all these songs that are on here, obviously, but this album, Revolver, is still one of my top 3 albums of all time, and For No One was the song that I always remembered, always stuck in my mind. Don't know why, because it's a great album, it's full of stuff, but that one is the one that stuck out. And the reason I think possibly why it means so much to me now is it's the first song I remember that was so hugely full of emotion. It wasn't just a happy song. There was loads of happy songs. There's quite a few angry songs. I mean, punk wasn't that far behind me at that point. This was 1982 to 1985. We lived in the Netherlands, and those albums were all in my dad's car at that point. So punk was just behind us. There was loads of angry stuff. There's always loads of happy stuff in the charts. There wasn't very many songs I can remember that were so overly emotional, and not in a saccharine sweet kind of way, which is normally what you get with Paul McCartney, but in quite a downbeat, but a beautiful way of doing it. I absolutely loved that song. I still do. I still love the album. And my dad had that Mercedes from 1982 to 1985. That was the last car of his that I never got to drive. I've driven every other one he's had since, but not that one. So that was 1985 when I was 12, and it took me until I was 50 before I bought a Mercedes of my own, despite the fact I was obsessed with them. And the first album I played, Revolver, had to be. I know it's a bit mawkish, that one, isn't it? Having to play the same album as my dad played in his car, but I had to do it. Next up is Jerry and the Pacemakers, How Do You Do It? This was off the album Jerry and the Pacemakers Greatest Hits. Obviously, dads have those kind of things in the cars all the time, don't they? I like a lot of the Jerry and the Pacemakers stuff because it's upbeat, it's bouncy, it's jaunty. And again, one of the things that was important to me was hearing music that was from Liverpool that wasn't just the Beatles, music that was from my parents' era growing up. This is what they listened to. Hearing songs sung in a Scouse accent, revelation to me at the time, and since I've listened to quite a few Merseybeat groups and their songs, and again, it's not just the Beatles. There's more to Liverpool and more to Liverpool music than just the Beatles. Hearing stuff like that was an eye-opener to me, and it's made me listen to a lot more since. It also gave me this idea that sharing music with your parents is a good thing. They're proud of the music that they like, and they're even more proud when you start listening to the music that they like. My parents were made up when I got into the Beatles. I think they were when I started listening to the likes of Jerry and the Pacemakers. It's something I took forward with giving back to my dad during the 90s. All the music I was into, all the indie stuff, I started letting him listen to what I was listening to repay the compliment. So he likes the likes of Oasis, Blur, later on Elbow and things like that, because I was listening to them. I'd put them on in the car, roles reversed, I'd play them in my car while he was listening. And it's also something I do with my daughter now. I've got Spotify playlists of stuff that I think she will like, that she can then discover if she wants to now, if not later on, a few years down the line. So it's really important for me, these kind of albums and these songs. This is where it came from. This is where I got it from, and this is where I'm paying it forward to my daughter. Jerry and the Pacemakers, how do you do it? Next, Simon and Garfunkel, America. Beautiful song, as a lot of Paul Simon songs are. Very cinematic, I find. Listening to it from start to finish is a bit like watching a film all the way through. It's so descriptive, absolutely fantastically written and observed. And the reason why it's important to me, there was an episode of Top Gear in which Freddie Flintoff, Paddy McGuinness and Chris Harris went and bought the cars that their dads had when they were kids. And there's a lovely bit in it where Paddy McGuinness talks about being up front in the car with his dad, and every time he went to change gear, he'd grab his leg and just give him a squeeze and jolt him slightly. Something my dad used to do with me, and something I used to do with my own daughter as well. Must just be a dad thing. But it reminded me of being in the car with my dad. Now, when I was up front with him, normally I was in the back if my mum was in the car, but if it was just me and him, I'd be in the front. I'd be in charge of the cassettes. So if one finished, I'd take it out, carefully put it back in its case, because I was really, really respectful of the fact that it was my dad's stuff. And then I'd choose the next one. And Simon and Garfunkel's Greatest Hits was one of the cassettes that was in there. And bizarrely, watching Top Gear, but also listening to this song, I always get that same thought. It wasn't the footballer. It wasn't a fella on Match of the Day. It wasn't a fella who people used to knock on the door and ask for photos and autographs. It was just me dad. Just me and him in the car. And I love those moments. I love the fact as well that he trusted me with the cassettes. And just beautiful memories. So yeah, there you go. Simon and Garfunkel, America. Up next, I'm Me Mind by the Beatles. It's not even switched on. From the album Let It Be. This is another album that I absolutely loved back then. I think it took me a while until I was a little bit older till I started to understand just how good the album was, but it was something I used to love playing in the car. And that particular song, George Harrison, I think it's important to me because it's my introduction to George Harrison as a proper songwriter. I didn't take any notice really until that song, and then I started to realise it's not just Lennon and McCartney. He can also write a fantastic song. He can also sing, and superb guitarist. I don't think he ever gets the credit he deserves as a guitarist. But as a songwriter, being in a band with John Lennon and Paul McCartney, it must have been an absolute nightmare. Two of the greatest to ever do it. But he was so much better than he was given credit for, really was. And I think his solo material has aged better than theirs has. I think his solo career, he's produced better songs, consistently better songs of a better quality than either of them two did. Yeah, fantastic. But he's a bit like, you know, he's a bit like being a really good Brazilian goalkeeper. If you're in a team with Pele and Eder and Falcao and Zico and people like that, Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Romario. He's a good goalkeeper, yeah, but look at this in front of you. So I feel sorry for him a bit, but what an absolutely superb songwriter. And that introduction to him when I was young, that led me on that little bit of a path to wanting to play guitar more. I tried when I was 9 and it wouldn't work. My fingers weren't strong enough and big enough to play F. I could play C, D, E, G. I couldn't play F. And I waited till I was 15 to then try and learn. And I learned most of it was done by playing the Beatles. And the majority of the songs that I'd like to play were George Harrison songs. So I think that gave me that little bit of a G up that I needed. And it was that one song, I think, that did it. After that, I started listening more to the songs that he wrote and the songs that he sung as well. Yeah, I Me Mine. What a fantastic tune that is. Love it. So there you go. There's my 5 things that mean something to me and the reasons why. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like that 5, why not check out these next? Or even these. Until next time, catch you later.